Have a comment.
Yes, sir. I just want to say to the audience that during this session, we would like to finish at 3, so we won't have enough time. But again, you are most welcome to communicate with our experts through our website and or after 3 o'clock. However, please ask before you ask a question, just identify yourself and state your affiliation. Now, I also have questions, lots of questions. But again, I'm going to save because I know you quite well. So I'm going to, if there is time, I'm going to ask my questions. You will go ahead, Dr. Magid, with your comment.
I just have a comment. Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed.
Thank you.
One of the areas that this part of the world, given our heritage, we need to look at is not just the harmful side of content, but actually is the lockup of what should be human knowledge under a copyright or an IPR. And I think that's something we need to address, and I'm not sure we are addressing it. For example, I'll give an example. There's a lot of debate on the ownership of the human genome sequencing. Yeah? So why should a company own the human genome sequencing? Why should another company own the particular genetically engineered seed? Yeah? So, and you addressed the amount of work that we're giving, the amount of energy we're giving to controlling harmful, however we define harmful. It could be political, and we define it as harmful, yeah? But are we putting in enough effort to contribute to the discourse on the ownership of information that should benefit all humans, not just a small slice of an enterprise?
Oh, question to me.
That's a comment. You might wish to add to it, or?
Well, I must say it's a difficult statement.
No, actually, if we look at the efforts that are in the Arab world, I really hardly believe any that fit in the category of action that you're asking for. I do not believe that we have that much of it. But there is no doubt that other parts of the world, like the US and West Europe, Australia, etc., they are working along those lines to make sure that whatever is done eventually benefits the society and the globe in general. I cannot point to any specific action in the Arab world to do that. We need to do it. The patent system may be a part of what they're doing, but I don't think we have that much presence. We have much less presence as far as the percentage is concerned than the percentage that Rod talked about when we talked about Arab content on the internet.
Yeah. Again, this is something that I just want to say that, from Rod's presentation and also from Dr. Magid, this incredible volume of information that is going to increase tremendously in the next decade. I don't know what, when we talk about trillions and maybe zillions, Google, I don't know what's, and all kinds of information that is coming to us, all of us, every single individual. Plus, you just mentioned media conversions. Again, we are discussing in each, and we have concerns, and these concerns are really legitimate concerns, the concerns that has to do with our families, with our youngsters, with our societies, with our identities. So in this incredible flow of information, and with this emergence, convergent concept that has to do with media, telecommunication, and information technology, where is regulation? What to regulate? How to regulate? What kind of things? How you forecast regulation a year from now? I mean, there is. I see it's going to be a problem, and everybody, the world was celebrating the freedom of information again, although there is certain models that you spoke about, but I don't know how this model is going to develop. That's why I think maybe, and I make mistakes all the time, by the way. I think that light regulation maybe is a key. If you disagree with me, please elaborate on this.
I personally, I am behind light regulations all the way.
Thank
And
you.
instead of answering the question, I'm going to give a family example.
All right.
The question is, what do you do with your children at home? How do we treat our homes before we talk about regulating anything outside? I mean, if you have a child that's 8 or 10 or 12 or 15 or 17, that's growing, that's being raised supposedly by you, how much time do we spend on, how do we deal with the information that he or she has access to? How much do we participate in this whole governance of the child's life? One of the major issues that people ignore is basically awareness, capacity building of the society.
Yeah.
We are getting to the point that the different players that are a part, the users per se, are not fully aware. So a mother or a father who do not have time to spend with a kid, or are not able to understand the technology, able to understand the tricks in the technology, and the kid, whenever they leave the house, they go somewhere that have no control over what's going on, per se, control. I'm not saying I need to control. But so, first of all, knowledge. Second, the basic thing about cooperating cooperatively with the school, with other parents' communities, with the state, with everything that gets to the child education is a very simple example of multi-stakeholder, light touch regulation that gets everybody to be aware, to be knowledgeable, to participate, to protect rather than control, and to be able to contribute to the upbringing of the child in a proper fashion. And the same thing is the internet. I cannot give a better example in my life from different than that.
This is excellent, and actually the X generation, those who were born in the year 1990 and after, are always working with tablets, and if you would like to have their attention, they have to have something else. So we're talking about something, they are defined as multitaskers. Before the multitaskers, before there was nothing, as Rod said, you read the newspapers and then you watch television sequentially, one thing at a time. But now people are doing many things at a given time, which is, again, it has to do with some evolution that maybe needs to be studied. Now we need to get some feedback from our audiences, and I would like to see if we have any questions and or statements. Well, please, Nigel. Over there.
That's Nigel.
Yes.
Nigel. It's Nigel.
I haven't seen them from here. I don't know. Well,
yes.
We have two.
Yes, thank you very Yes, thank you very much. Nigel Hickson from ICANN. I found both presentations absolutely fascinating. I'd like to ask a question in relation to sort of content regulation. And I found your explanation of the 4 different types of how content is regulated to be very interesting and persuasive. But I just wondered whether you'd sort of taken into consideration the difference in terms of content blocking between the blocking of information that's put onto sites in the country itself. And if one takes the UK, for example, it's illegal to put pornography, certain types of pornography onto the internet within the country, and yet the country doesn't block content coming in because that's of a completely different nature. And I wondered whether you'd taken that sort of difference of blocking as opposed to making it illegal to put information onto the web.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I mean, it is supposed to be a difficult question. I tell you, there is a difference between blocking completely or blocking from the sites within your country. Again, if we get to the point where we get to a system that is generally agreed to the following. One is the information that is totally agreed to around the world that is bad, which is category 1 in my presentation. And that is, for example, child pornography. I mean, if that is agreed to globally, I think cooperation between different countries will get you to block that one or be able to take action to it either before it happens or after it happens by following up on it with the country where it originated. So that is, in my view, that is necessary. Now, is there a country that doesn't agree that child pornography is bad? I'm not sure. Okay, I haven't heard of one, or at least not declared at least. The second is there may be some things where there are different levels of, I should say, dislike or prohibition. You know, you may dislike something, I may prohibit it, or for me it's prohibitive because of the value system that I am a part of. And this is a point of discussion in a multi-stakeholder environment. In my view, we should at least agree or understand each other that to me this is not good. In my country, it is going to be treated by this fashion, 1, 2, 3. However, we should have an understanding that when I block your provider who's doing it, because or somehow block it technically or whatever, that is not going to be necessarily retaliated from your government against my government, or by your country against my country, or by your country against my companies, etc. So there needs to be some kind of an understanding and agreement. I'm not saying it's all black and white, but the fact is we need to start with the building block of what's agreed to, shade the other ones, and try to get to treaties or agreements between the different players.
Excellent. One final question. Please. Microphone.
Yes, Dr. Thalay Al-Fawzan from Kuwait University. I think it's extremely important issue. I thank you, for your presentation. It was enlightening. I have one thing. I think we need to have, just like we have a regulatory organization or a body, I think we need a body for the education of the proper content. We need to teach our students, we need to teach from early on stage the importance of recognizing what is good for you and what is bad. As Dr. Imad mentioned, it's very difficult to regulate due to so many issues, especially technical ones. Coming from a technical background, I understand that. I think we need to spend enough effort to create maybe an organization specialized only for awareness for our children, for students of all types. Maybe that organization will produce some content, some material to be taught at school, at all stages, at all levels.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for the suggestion. You know, we need some initiatives, and this is, we need also to think about different kinds of associations and new ideas that will enter with us this new information society and help us to be able to use the internet for better applications that will benefit the communities and the societies in the different fields. I would like to respond to this. Okay.
I'm gonna go on the limb here for a second. I tell you, when I talked about transformation, I really meant the transformation. Our educational system has to be transformed completely. Our social norms are transforming. Believe it or not, like it or not, it's being changed. So we better get on the bandwagon and see if we could be driving, somehow have a piece of the driving, opportunity to be able to define how our health is going to be managed, how our education system is going to be, what we need to build capacity in our children, and so on and so forth. And I will limit it at that because it's 3:02.
It's all right. So we started late, so we'll have, with the permission of Her Excellency Sheikh Aida, 2 more minutes. So we need to respond to the question about transformation now, because actually this is, again, you get us into something that we need to change in a large volume what we have. So this is actually one thing that I think that education system should be revisited as, you know, what's the concept of education and what kind of education we offer. The second is also the power that is changing from the regulatory authorities to the people. The power is with the people now. The power is shifting. There is shifting power to the people. So the people do have the responsibilities. You have a responsibility with regard to regulation. So again, this is something that we, at a final note, that we would like to end our session. I'd like very much to thank Dr. Habballah. This is, things are really, I think you've been getting into through many different fights, because I know a lot of people, they want to stop regulation altogether, and they call the regulators censors. But, c'est la vie, as the Germans say.
Just by the way, just for the record, in Lebanon, I'm against censoring anything.
Yeah.
I personally, it doesn't mean I could do it because the law doesn't allow me.
Yeah.
No, actually, we don't censor anything.
We thank you for your intellectual efforts. And also, I'd like to thank Dr. Muhammad Magid for his lovely presentation and excellent case studies. And now back to you, Dr. Abdullah.
Speakers, Dr. Ahmad, Dr. Hussein, Dr. Majid, for the knowledge they passed to us. And we would like to thank our guests, distinguished guests. And finally, we would like to thank Her Excellency Sheikh Aida for supporting and organizing this event. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.